That all of our other competitors have to use SCR, which is urea. They have to use exhaust gas recirculation, and they have to use a diesel particulate filter. All we have to do is SCR, which is selective catalytic reduction, which is urea. That's all we have to do on our equipment for Tier 4A or Tier 4 final. So we don't have any emissions components on our engine. We're treating the exhaust after the engine. So we always think in terms of a pulling tractor. Would you rather have our engine with no emissions components on it, just treating the exhaust, or would you rather have an engine that's got exhaust gas recirculation, SCR, and a diesel particulate filter? So we've got a huge competitive advantage, and we're very proud of at Case IH with this engine technology that has really got us a lot of, gained us a lot of ground with customers, the simplicity of it. When we look at innovative products, the Steiger Road Track is one that we came out with back in 2011. It was founded on the heritage of the quad track. Customers asked for a track tractor that could go down the road, could get it the tracks out away from the frame. And most of you have seen our major competitor just recently launched a road track 4-wheel drive. But this product's been amazing. We sell a lot of them in the Mississippi Delta, over in Arkansas and Boonville, Missouri, and has done a great job for us, giving us the flotation and traction. The Magnum Road Track, we launched this a few years ago, and once again, it's primarily used in your Delta soils up in the Midwest, where guys are looking for flotation and traction. It's a superior design to the 2-track design. Anybody that's ever driven a 2-track vehicle knows that you're losing power to one of the tracks when you go to turn. This one keeps full power to both tracks while you're turning. We've got reduced berming on the ends. It's an extremely innovative product, and once again, we're having a lot of success with this along the Mississippi River Delta. Just kind of showing you guys where the future is going when we look at some of the older planters outside, and this is our new 2000 series planter row unit. This row unit allows you to plant up to 10 miles an hour. And this thing is beefy and heavy. You can look at the size of the parallel links, the hardware. Still got the pull tight gauge wheels, 2-stage closing system. They came out with the old 800 IH Cyclo planters. So we've still got the heritage of the row unit design that we've had for years. But this planter, hydraulic downforce, is made to plant fast. Customers have said we can't get any wider. The only way we're going to increase our productivity is to be able to drive faster. So we gave them a high-speed meter, but we also gave them a high-speed row unit that can be successful at the high speeds and maintain seed-to-soil contact and consistent seed depth. Many of you probably saw the autonomous tractor that we showed at Farm Progress. I guess it's almost 2 years ago now. We've got a project, if you go on to caseih.com, where we're working with Bolthouse Farms out in California on how to bring that product to reality, so we can sell it commercially. This is coming a lot faster than I think most of us in this room probably would expect, where tractors will drive themselves. It's not as difficult as it sounds. Of course, we see a lot on the news about autonomous automobiles, but this tractor is really exciting. We've got the leading technology on this, and we've got a lot of interest in this, particularly in the South. When we look at South Florida, guys are the Delta, places where they have to have a lot of labor. Just like when we talk about cotton pickers in a minute, what that how that revolutionized hand picking cotton to mechanization. This is kind of just almost as significant, I would say, autonomous vehicles. The farmer today in my region, to a great degree, is managing multiple vehicles. And we signed an agreement with Climate Corporation a few months ago. And the farmer today likes to sit in his pickup truck, look at his iPad, and he can see what's going on with a couple of combines in the field. This partnership that we've got with Climate allows us to do that. We can see instantaneous the agronomic data, what they yield, the moisture, how fast he's going, what his settings are in the pickup truck. We can see, if sprayers are going across the field, have they got the whole field done, what have they done thus far. And the manager or the owner can sit in the pickup truck or even back at his office and see what's going on. when you're managing multiple employees, multiple vehicles, this technology is needed. We've got very high demand for it, and it's something that look forward to continuing to grow as farm operations continue to grow. I mentioned our people, how we've got more people in the field than any other manufacturer. And we've got the support for our dealers and our customers, and getting that feedback and uplining it back to product management and engineering, and the value that provides us. So we feel like, with the innovative products, the knowledgeable people, we're creating a value proposition for farmers that's second to none. We're creating a partnership that nobody else can touch, because we know what's going on with our farmers. We know the relationship that we've got, and they're giving us that feedback. They feel like, especially when they see that feedback taken into account, put into action, the value that it adds. So I mentioned a minute ago about FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and the chairman and CEO of Fiat Chrysler, Sergio Marchionne, knows the power of the International Harvester Case IH brand. And if you guys will remember the Super Bowl a few years ago, there was the Paul Harvey commercial, and I want to play that, but I want to make sure everybody notices the product placement of International Harvester / Case IH throughout the video. So let me play that right now.
On the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painting from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend to pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk, somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
So let me make sure I'm clear on my comments. So Fiat Chrysler, FCA, they're the largest shareholder of CNH Industrial. As I mentioned, Sergio Marchionne, he's the CEO of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and he's the chairman of CNH Industrial. So you can see the product placement, the Case IH product placement throughout that Super Bowl commercial. We were really, really proud, as you might imagine, inside the company. That video, that commercial, that Paul Harvey, voice is just extremely powerful to, makes you proud to be a farmer and associated with agriculture. You see the tractor here, it's an old Magnum. It's an old Magnum that I just assumed, with this photo and part of the video, that this was taken somewhere in the Midwest or out in the plains, whatever it may be. But you'll notice a little bit of over spray paint right here on the edge of the fuel tank. And you could tell that it was an 8900 series Magnum because of the fuel tank is pointy here. They did that to increase fuel capacity when they launched the 8900 series. So a funny story is I was in South Florida back in January of this year, 2018, and this tractor sitting on the turn row as we're talking to a customer. So you can see I'm living what I'm saying, that we're out there talking to customers, getting feedback. And the customer said, "You see that Magnum sitting over there?" He said, "That's the Magnum that was in the Paul Harvey commercial." He said, "We put new tires on it since then." And I was like, "Really? They came to South Florida to get that picture?" And he said they filmed and this guy runs a lot of new iron. He said they made all kinds of videos of all our new equipment. And they took a picture of one of my guys sitting on the PTO shield, and he said, we were kind of surprised that's the picture that they picked, inside the commercial when we had all that new equipment running. But pretty cool. Take a look. Here's the picture from behind. It was, chopped. They were picking cabbage, and it was hooked to a little offset disc. And you can see some paint overspray on the back. But like I said, the tires are different now. But hardly a show tractor. But it made the Paul Harvey commercial, Super Bowl commercial several years ago. So a really neat story, and you never know what you'll find talking to customers. A lot of good things. So I want to talk a minute about the Case IH Racine Experience Center. We've made a lot of investment at the plant in Racine, Wisconsin, where we built the Magnum tractors. And we've got this new experience center for people to take plant tours and see the current product offering, as well as some heritage product. So you can see, we've got a glass opening. This was the front of the plant, which used to be a lot of offices. Cubicle City is what I call it. So you enter through the glass doors. You can see the new product in the picture. You come through the glass doors, we've got the modern equipment display, we've got the heritage equipment display, we've got a theater here, and then we've got a merchandise area as well. So if anybody's interested in taking a plant tour in Racine, Wisconsin, you can contact the plant to set that up, and I think you'll be quite impressed. As I mentioned, you'll enter through the front of the plant, and then when you take your tour, you can see all the machining that still takes place in Racine, sub-assembly, final assembly, and then we've got lunch in the back. It's a really neat setup. Here's some of the heritage equipment that's there. I know the speaker this morning talked about the last 5488. It's been in Burr Ridge, Illinois, what used to be called Hinsdale, the engineering headquarters. It's the corporate headquarters for C&H Industrial now. It's in Racine. We've got the one of the first 7130s in Racine as well from an IH standpoint. And you can also tie it in with a tour of Burr Ridge, where you can see engine design, engine tests. You can see some of the engineering 3D reality tests that they do and how cool that is. But Burr Ridge, the old Hinsdale location, is now a national agricultural historic landmark, because it was the place where the original farm mall was designed. And it's got an innovation gallery, where it's got some heritage equipment as well. A couple examples is the 1586, it's a cab forward design, pretty revolutionary back in its day. If you look at most tractors built today, they all have the cabs in front of the rear axle. To be able to have a wider cab, a more roomy cab, you got to get in front of the rear axle, especially for customers with the rear tires set up on 60 inches. There's also a Hydro 70 that's decaled as a Hydro 84. The decals were never changed from a photo shoot that was done. I don't think a lot of people know that, but sometimes we do just change the decals when we're doing a photo shoot to minimize the trucking involved. So when you see a Magnum brochure and you see a 340 and then you see a 310, it could have been the same tractor and we just changed the decals on the hood. IH even did that back in the 70s. And like I said, we still have 112 acres in Hinsdale / Burr Ridge, Illinois, if you're interested. If you go with one of your dealers on the plant tour, it's a really fun experience. We use this to convert customers over to Case IH. We've, we'll take a Harley Davidson tour sometimes. We'll go to a Chicago Cubs game, Miller Park to see a Milwaukee Brewers game, or even go fishing on Lake Michigan. And just a lot of fun if you work with your dealer on going on one of the plant tours. We plan to do quite a few of them this summer. All right, so let's talk cotton now. When we look at cotton, I put some data up here, and back in 2012, close to 70% of the world's cotton was still hand-picked. That's the most recent data that I've got, but it's pretty hard to believe that only 30% of the world's cotton is picked by a machine, just a few short years ago. The main three countries where the cotton's grown is China. They produce about 31 million bales, India 24.5, in the US at 17. So that's 61% of your global production with cotton. In the US, where we produce cotton, you can see we're sitting here in Montgomery today, and there's some cotton around us, but the big cotton producing areas are the dark green, starting here in South Alabama, going up through South Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, a little bit in Virginia, of course the Mississippi River Delta, going up into the Boot Hill of Missouri, West Texas. Texas as a state produces about half, or has half the cotton acres in the U.S. A little bit down here in the coastal area of Texas, southern Arizona, and then in California. In California, there's continued row crop deterioration. More trees are being planted for a variety of nuts that are being exported to China and the rest of Asia. So I've got a little bit of an eye chart here. We've got, like as I mentioned earlier, Wiley in the corner if you have any questions. But we put together a history of the International Harvester Case IH offering for cotton pickers. Many of you have seen a lot of the machines that we have outside and probably have some questions as to the years and what do we have, what are we missing. So, 1942 to 1945, we had the H10H. You can see that that was, right during the World War II, so very limited production. Then the M11H and the M12, 46 to 52. The M12H, what I've read in the history books, and I've got a couple of pictures here in a minute, was the first, mass-produced machine, if you will, out of the Memphis plant in 1948. Then we went to the M24, M120, and then we had our first two-row picker, the 214, 220, and then the 314, 320, and Wally and I, saw a 314 outside, and the 414, 420. Both of these were high drums, as I recall. Both of these are low drums, one row and two row. And then the 500 series was built for 1 year, 1965, a one row tractor mounted. The 600 series, the 782, which we've got outside here, 78 to 83. 1800 series was launched in 1985, and then the 2000 series in 91. A 2055, which is our first 5-row machine. At that time, people were interested in growing cotton 5-row 30-inch. We had the 2100 series that had the nice cab that many of us are familiar with the 2188, 2388 combines, 2555. And then we got our first 6-row machine in 2000, a CPX 610. And then a 420 and 620 in 2004. A 625 was our Module Express machine in 2007. We launched it in the fall of 06. And then a 635 in 2012, both of them 6-row machines. So, as I mentioned, 1942, an H10H, introduced at the Hobson Plantation, Clarksdale, Mississippi, reduced the need for farm labor and sharecroppers, and recognized as an SAE historical landmark, and it's on display at the Smithsonian Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. It was quite significant, and in my research, as my dad has a lot of the IH collector's books that are for sale here today, it was interesting, IH, taking a lot of flack, if you will, for you know, a lot of people, millions of people are going to be out of jobs, you know, with the design of this picker. And it was something that, you know, politically or that they had to manage, you know, the message out there. And they were very cognizant of the fear that people had of losing their livelihood from picking cotton. It's kind of interesting, as I mentioned earlier, the autonomous tractor. We haven't heard that same, you know, flack, if you will, you know, with the autonomous tractor, but it's not in commercial production yet. But anyways. Here was the M12H one-row machines produced in Memphis in 1948, and this is taken in Mississippi in the North Delta, and you got 5 machines in the field. You can see they're picking it with still some green color to it. Defoliants weren't as effective as they are today, but you know, that's quite the Photoshop right there to put 5 one-row machines, you know, lined up in the field. That was definitely one of the larger plantation owners. 4-row machine, when we launched the 4-row in 1984, it was the 1844, still, it was manufactured in Memphis. I think the 1984 was the year that Memphis was closed and production was moved to East Moline, Illinois. After that, 1985 timeframe. Our first 6-row machine was the CPX 610, launched in 2000. You can see that's some beautiful high-yielding cotton there. And then the 625, you know, our Module Express picker that we launched in 2006. So this was actually launched in Perthshire, Mississippi, on Kenneth Hood's farm in October of 2006. The first official model years were 2007 model years for the equipment, but the labor savings, and we'll watch a short video in a minute, were quite significant again with the introduction of this product. We were the first major manufacturer to have an onboard module system, you know, launched into production. You can see we're making half of a standard module would be 8 foot wide, 8 foot tall, 32 feet long. We're making an 8 by 8 by 16 foot module. We can, you can see a couple more pictures of the ramp on the back. This is the harvest position, the field position. You can see it from the side here. And then in 2011, we launched it with the 635. We had more position, made some improvements to the machine, you know, picking up to 4.2 miles an hour with the 635. And then today, we still offer the 635 today. We still sell the 635, and we also still sell basket machines. We sell a 4-row CPX 420, as well as a 6-row 620. And we've sold some of both recently. This year, last year, guys are still buying basket machines, they're still buying module machines. It just depends on the operation, what fits, you know, for the guy. And then, of course, you know, the complete cotton system with the sprayer, the tractors, auto guidance, and tillage. But let me show you guys a video here on the picker when we launched it back in 2006.
The development process, Case IH engineers listened to the input from the cotton industry. While the on-the-fly onboard module building gets all the attention, the Module Express 625 is really a total technology package. It's the smartest design out there, the one that fits the cotton industry best. To begin with, we're using the field-proven, industry-leading Case IH Cotton Express picking unit design. It's the one that picks the cleanest on the first pass and picks from both sides of the road to get all the cotton. It has the design capabilities for all day, every day, in the field productivity and profitability. The Module Express builds industry-compatible modules while it moves down the road. That eliminates both the bolt buggy and the module builder. It also eliminates the tractors associated with them, the fuel to run them, and the labor costs that go with all of them.
Here's some cotton being picked in southeast Missouri on wooden farms back in, I think it was 2016, with a couple of module expresses. So you can see there how clean it's picking from both sides of the row. We're still the only manufacturer offering a picker head that's picking from both sides of the row. And we've got one in the back, and of course Wiley, being one of our resident experts, or myself, if you want to talk about it as to how it works and the design features of it, definitely feel free to talk to us about that. Wiley, you got anything to add? Or not take too much time?
Thank Adam for coming. He was in Louisiana yesterday and drove over here to be with us here at the Red Power Roundup. I'll say this about Adam. He's a hard worker. And in 2006, we were at the Moultrie show, Sunbelt Expo at Moultrie. And sometime during the meeting that week, his boss, Doug Schiff, told him, Adam, you have to put on this picker introduction in November of the 625. So Adam kind of, he was about 5 years into the company, maybe 6, and he didn't even live in Memphis. He was living back up in Virginia somewhere. So we got together after the meeting, and he was kind of worried about what to do, and I said, Adam, we're going to get you through this. I'm going to handle the service end of it. We're going to call Doug Cole, and he's going to handle his dealer from West Memphis, going to get equipment over there, whatever we need. And Bill Shapley's going to handle the Ag Center out there and all the food that needs to be come. He's done that before, and we'll do that. We had a good show. Did we not have a good show? So Adam's a good young man, and we were thanking him for coming over here today and spending some time with us. Thank you, Adam.